Come on in. I apologize for being a tiny bit late. That's my life right now, you all. That is my life right now. That's how I run. It just is the way it is. Come on in. I'm going to try to get these mics hooked up so you all can hear me this morning. And you probably thought I wasn't making it this morning. You probably thought I wasn't going to be here. Good morning. We have 30 friends over and on YouTube, and Facebook is slowly catching up. Good morning. We're streaming landscape over on YouTube today. These microphones are so bulky. They're so bulky, but I just feel like they're necessary because the sound is just so much better when we have them. Let's see. I may not see comments this morning on Facebook. Facebook or YouTube, I turned my chat off during our live, and it'll be back on after our live today because we have too many boogers. We have too many boogers that want to pop in on our YouTube lives. And yeah, I don't have time to mess with boogers today. Do y'all? Right? So let me pull this up over here on my extra device, and that way I can see comments because no comments are appearing in the Facebook world. So that takes the fun out of it. If we can't chat today, excuse me. So let's see who I can see on here. So much better. There we go. Now I can see your comments. Thank you, Miss Shayna. I'm so excited. I have ordered some salve from Miss Shayna's mom, and I'm so excited to get it. And I'm going to tell y'all about it when it comes. My midweek check-ins, I'm going to be kind of revamping those a little bit, and I think y'all are really going to enjoy those. So come on in. I know it's like it's hot and humid here today, y'all. I feel like I haven't been able to fix my hair up, fix my hair pretty, and I feel like a while just because it's been so nasty humid. And it continues and will for a while. So y'all get me the way you get me. I'm so sorry. Come on in. We're going to be doing a little bit of revisiting today. I have lots of things on the table that I want to share with you today. And some are some oldie, but some goodies. So I'm excited to revisit some of these, and I'm going to kind of show you how things look over time, and show you kind of how to upkeep, if you will, or what do you want to say? They give them a facelift after they've been, when you're kind of old and frumpy, sometimes you need a facelift. Well, some of my crafts are old and frumpy now. They need some picking up. Good morning, Miss Sheila. How are you? So I have on the table here, I have my coffee punch, and I have some instant coffee, and I have some ground cinnamon. Those we're going to be using quite a bit today. And a no cookie sheet. We're going to be a little bit messy today. And then I have pulled out some things, like I said, that I've made several years ago that need to be updated. And that's what we're going to do with some of these. Good morning, Penny and Pat. Everybody's rolling in over on Facebook now. I'm seeing your comments over here, but not up here. So you all bear with me as I'm looking around in all the places. Some pantry tarts. We have made these a long time ago, and they're looking pretty sad. They're looking pretty dry and old and frumpy. I'm going to give those a facelift. And I have some of my grubby jars. Now, this one's looking pretty nice. This one is probably not as old as some of the others. We're going to revisit the grubby jars today. We haven't talked about grubby jars in a long time. So we're going to revisit some of these today. And I'm going to show you some examples of some different issues that you may have if you've tried grubby jars before, and maybe you've run into some problems, or maybe ask some questions if you've tried grubby jars and had problems with them in the past. We're going to kind of talk through those today. Good morning, Miss Connie. Sun in the mountains. Remind me of your name. I'm so sorry. I will catch it, but it just takes me just a little bit to catch it and remember it. Good morning, Samantha. How are you? Well, you have an amazing weekend. If I only see you for a couple of minutes this morning. Good morning, Penny. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Um, this is another grubby jar that's looking pretty good. So I just kind of wanted to bring that as a sample along today to kind of show you some different techniques. So we're going to kind of revisit lots of techniques today, revisit some old projects, show you how to freshen them up. Just some fun little revisiting today. So come on in. I can't wait to see everybody. Is Miss Esmeralda in the house? Good morning, sweet friend. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, I love seeing y'all in the comments. Well, this was probably one of, no, it wasn't my first. It was probably one of my first big grubby jars that we've made. And I like to call this technique, honestly, for the big jars, I kind of like to call it my faux stoneware method. I did this as a two-sider. I know this is backwards for you all that may be watching on a screen right now, but this says pumpkin preserves and has a beautiful fall themed pumpkin print on the back. So I'll usually you will see this displayed right back there. That's where you usually see this jar. On the other side, it says molasses cookies. So I like to turn this one around for like most of the year and maybe around Christmas time. And I kind of display some of my little tart cookies. And this one I use for the fall. I like using double-sided, especially for these big jars, so that you can kind of keep them out all year round, no matter what, you have on one side or the other. It's, you can flip it to one side or the other and it'll last you throughout the year. Well, this one, I did this one in two different parts. I did the front half on one video and I did the back half on another video. It has seen some days and it needs to be freshened up. So that's what we're going to do with this one first and foremost. And I'm going to show you after you've done these grubby jars and they've set, especially if you live in if you go really light with your method of grubby application, you'll have this problem. And or if you live in a very dry climate, you will have this problem. And what that problem is that I'm speaking of is that this will start to get so dry and thin, it may actually start to kind of crack, where you'll see cracks in this layer of what I call grubbiness. Okay. Now, grubbiness is a mixture of glue and instant coffee with a little bit of cinnamon. And over time, it dries and it hardens. But it does have a curing phase. You do have to allow it to cure for quite a while. And so over time, it's just natural that that does dry and it starts to kind of shrink on the surface. It takes a long time, but if you live in a dry climate, hot, dry, and or go really thin with your coating, it will happen faster. So, good morning, Miss Andrea. Good morning, Stephanie. So, good morning, Sandra. How are you? Have you not seen this one? This one is usually tucked back there. It's been a long time since we've done this one. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to freshen this one up today. And then if you've tried grubby jars and you have questions, I would love for you to kind of chime in the chat over on Facebook is where we're able to see the chat today. So chime in over there if you have questions. I know, Sandra, you love the handle on this. I do too. I found this one. This was just a vintage pickle jar. That's all it was. And I did not finish the bottom on this. And a lot of times, if you live in a humid climate like I do, a lot of times you'll find that sometimes this can get a little, no, I don't want to say sticky, but almost a little bit tacky to the touch, where you feel just a little bit of a stick, just a little bit. And so sometimes I leave the bottoms. I don't finish them on the bottoms for that very reason. If you set them on the shelf, it can or may stick a little bit to your surface. You may want to put like a felt bottom on the bottom of it or whatever. But that's kind of where I fall into that category. Sometimes I don't finish them. Now my small jars, I do go ahead and finish the bottom most of the time, and I usually don't have an issue. But on the bigger ones, sometimes I choose not to do that. Now, typically, here's another thing. Typically, I like to put a string of lights down in this jar, and it has a glow. I just love it. It just sets off an amber colored glow, almost like your vintage amber bottles and jars. And I love that look. Gives me that vintage feel. And so that's probably what has also kind of sped up the drying or the aging process on this, is that a little bit of heat inside this jar has probably dried this layer out a little bit faster. So, um, Robin, yes, thank you so much. I knew it, but I just couldn't recall it this morning. I woke up with a horrible headache this morning, and sometimes I just need a little extra help. And I don't drink coffee, so it's like I gotta find my own source of help. I don't know what that is, but sometimes it just takes me a little bit longer to get going when I wake up with those headaches. So I'm going to grab a drink of water. Are y'all drinking coffee this morning? How are you? Good morning. Good morning, Pamela. How many yummy layers do you have on my pickle jar? This is just one layer. Just one layer. I will say 1/2 is thicker of a layer than this side. And I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it or not. If I hold it up to you and you can see the inside of the jar, you might be able to see it a little bit better. Ooh, let me get it right. Okay, on Facebook, y'all, you'll be able to see this. Okay, so right here, do you see where my finger's tapping? I'll show you on YouTube here in just a moment. This is really thin right here, the layer, and you can start to see through it a little bit too much. Right here is where I'm talking about. This little area right here is really of a thin layer, and I can see too much through it, and it's really gotten dry and it's started to crack. You probably can't see the cracks on here, but it has started to crack a little bit, which I'm fine with, but it's really thin right here. So we're gonna jazz it up and give it a facelift today. So I thought I'd bring you along for the ride and show you just how I do it, because it is a little messy and it can be a little intimidating, because you may get into it and you think, oh my gosh, what on earth is she doing? Am I gonna ruin it? No, you just have to embrace the mess. Trust the process. My lid wasn't on all the way. About had a big mess. Um, that was my fault. I guess I didn't screw the lid on all the way yesterday. Um, well, let me clean this off real quick. Well, we're getting into the mess real quick, aren't we? Ah, clean it off. Okay. All right. You can see after it sits, it kind of settles, and that's why I usually like to shake it up a little bit to kind of redistribute everything. I always forget that I leave these sponge brushes in here every time. You'll want to make sure that you have plenty of paper towels on hand, just saying today. If you are going to be doing this like I am. Um, let's see here. My trash can is under my sewing table, so I can't throw those away right now. So I'm going to start with the side that has the thinnest coat first. I like to work over a cookie sheet. Just get you an old cookie sheet that you use specifically for this process. Good morning, Miss Irma. How long does my coffee podge last in my jar, Pamela? I don't know. It lasts a long time. And if I ever have a problem with it, or if it looks funky, I just throw it out. Sometimes I put it in my fridge, sometimes I don't. Now my coffee grunge, I always like to put it in the fridge. If you're use like distilled water in your mixture, you're probably fine. But I don't use distilled water in mine, so that's why I kind of choose to always put mine in the refrigerator. So kind of the same thing goes with your coffee pod. Honestly, if you want to make sure that it's fine, probably just put it in the fridge. Okay, I'm going to start by putting some coffee podge on this jar. Now, when I do this, it's probably going to reactivate some of that under layer. So don't be alarmed, but here's what you want to do. You don't want to do your heavy brush strokes on this, okay? You kind of just want to dab or pounce, whatever you want to call it, to put your coating on. And if you start to see some of that coffee reactivating on there, that's okay. We're not going to panic. We just need a good layer of that coffee podge to act as your wet layer before you sprinkle on your coffee, instant coffee. Okay. Um, you can add cinnamon to this. I typically do not because let me tell you why I don't. Uh, it's because it will give you a little bit of that dusty look. Okay. And I don't want this to look dusty to me. I want it to look like a glazed stoneware. Okay. If you all seen the vintage stoneware Crocs, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, I'm going to sprinkle some of this in the lid right here because sometimes I like to crumble it a little bit so that it dissolves a little faster. Um, and there's also another reason why you may get the powdery look once it's dry. And I'm going to show you in a little bit. I have a couple of jars over here as an example um, of showing you what that looks like and how to fix it. If you're doing this technique and it looks a little powdery when it's dry, and you're thinking, okay, this doesn't look like stoneware that's been glazed. I'll show you how and why that happens and how to fix it. So I'm just taking this instant coffee and I'm crumbling it in my fingers as I sprinkle it over. And I'm working in sections here. And let me just say, if you go really, really heavy with your coffee podge, your glue mixture, okay, you don't have to use coffee podge. You can just use regular like Mod Podge, okay? I just choose to use coffee podge because that's what I have at my, that's what I typically use for a lot of my projects. And so that's what I'm using. um, if you go really, really thick with your coffee podge, you're going to experience some runs and drips. Okay. So there kind of is a fine line of how much is too much kind of thing. And if you get runs and drips, sometimes that adds to your look and that can be a welcomed thing. But sometimes you don't want runs in certain places. So just have be on watch for that as that dries and as you're working. So see, I'm having some runs go this direction, which do not look natural. So I'm just going to kind of dab so that I don't see those run lines. I don't want streaks and runs going sideways on my jar. That doesn't look natural. All right. Now, I think it's kind of cool when it starts to drip over the label a little bit though. Now, I am going to go a little bit thick down here because this is where it was really thin to begin with. So, if you do this once and you find that you have thin areas, it's best to just let it dry and do a second application rather than going super thick all at one time. Okay. Um, Super thick layers take a long, long time to completely cure and dry. And sometimes, even after you've given them plenty of time, sometimes they will be really tacky to the touch, even after they've dried, if you go too heavy. Okay. So it's best to do a couple of light, thin layers rather than like one super heavy layer. Okay. So keep that in mind. I'm going to go this direction now. And as I'm working now, I'm going to try to start keeping my jar upright so that the drips will drip the right direction rather than sideways. Um, oh, well, thank you. Oh, good. I love it. I've seen so many beautiful creations with this grubby technique, and you can really just experiment and come up with some really cool things. And it gives you a look like no other, you know. It's something that you do not see in stores. um, and I think it just adds the right character, if especially if you like primitive and vintage country type decor. It just adds that touch that you just don't find in other things. Okay, so I'm going to show you. I have a little bit of, when I did this first layer on this jar way back, um, I had some runs on top of this label, which to me, I thought, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Um, and I left some of those runs, and I'm going to show you up close what those look like here in just a second. Everywhere where you see the wet coffee podge is where you want to sprinkle this instant coffee on, and it will melt it. If you do not have enough moisture on, then you're going to be left with a powdery residue on top. It can be fixed just by kind of dabbing a little bit more moisture on top of the dusty look. Okay, so here's a look at the label. You can see the runs that happened on the top. I have some runs that are happening on this label now. I don't like the look of those, so I'm just going to take my paper towel and I'm going to just kind of dab them off. Some runs are welcome, some are not. And this one, I don't want a whole lot of runs. So I'm just going to go across there and wipe it off. And I probably still will have a few. Because like I said, as it dries, yeah, we're going to get a few runs right here. It's going to give you that dripping wax effect at the top of that label. You can already kind of start to see some of it happening again. Um, so just kind of watch it for the first little while, and kind of just dab those runs if they're in areas where you do not want them. Okay, just dab them with a paper towel, and you'll be fine. Okay. You recently discovered the crafts and my channel. I am currently working on the Americana drum for the 4th of July. Where can you find the recipes for the coffee podge and the coffee grunge, by the way? Denise from Pennsylvania. Miss Denise, we're coming to Pennsylvania in September for a road trip meetup to Lancaster. We would love to meet you. If you go to my Facebook page, let me back out of this and I'll show you. Oh, I forget. It doesn't look the same on it doesn't look the same on my iPad as it does on your phone. So I can't show you. Hang on here. Yeah, if you just go, it will not show it on my iPad. If you go to My Sweet Home Living on Facebook, there usually is a little section right here that says featured. Okay, and you have to kind of scroll left to right. There are some important posts in that area. One is my Messenger broadcast channel, if you want to hop on that for notifications. And one is a post that has the recipes for my coffee grunge and coffee podge. Okay, now you'll see, do you see on my pan right there? This is why you want to work over a pan, because it will get messy. It will get messy. And you got to have something to catch all the drippage. The drippage. Because you will have it. Don't feel like you've overdone it if you have the drippage. It's normal, okay? It is normal. All right, I'm just kind of going around and looking. I didn't get the bottom right here under the label here. I love these sponge brushes for this because you can kind of cover it and dab it a lot easier and quicker with these little sponges. I'm getting some more drips up there that I'm going to take care of here in just a minute. While this is wet, I'm just sprinkling on the instant coffee. This coat is going to be nice and it's going to even it up. I could almost tell where I did the two different methods. You know, like one day I did the front half, the next day I did the second half, and I could kind of see the line of separation between the front and the back. So this should kind of smooth it over and make it look more cohesive together. I have a little spot up here at the top that is still dry. I can tell by the it doesn't have as much shine to it. So I'm just going to kind of dab some on, and I think that'll finish this one up. All right. So while it's wet, sprinkle that instant coffee on there. Crumble it, because when you crumble it, it makes it the powder, and the powder dissolves much easier with less wetness involved. You know what I mean? You don't have to put as much. Excuse me. I may have took a deep breath at the same time I was powdering that instant coffee. Okay, I think this. Oh goodness, I still see some light areas right there. Um, when I hold it up to the light, where can I see through it the most? That's what I'm looking at, and that kind of tells me that I need a little bit more. But if I've already gone heavy in that area, I'm going to kind of hold off and but I did go light here, so I'm just applying more. But if you already have gone heavy and you still see through it, let it dry and then apply the second coat later. Now, how long should you let it dry? It really depends on the humidity. It keeps falling over, and I did not want that handle. I did that the first time around, and it touches that. I don't want it on the handle. Um, It really depends on the humidity of your home, okay? That's all I can tell you. You will have to kind of watch it. Now, what I would encourage you to do, sit this with a little fan on it, okay? Or sit it where it's going to get some airflow for sure, because that will help it dry faster. And what you'll want to do is come and check it every once in a while, like I said, for these little drips. Um, The drips are usually only like for the first hour or so, and then usually you're okay, or you don't have to check it as often anyway. But okay, now this I love that kind of drip, but it's a little much. It's a little much. Um, but it does give it a cool effect. So I'm just going to kind of use my paper towel. Um, and you can see on this one, let me kind of show you. This label, it just has the yummy grubbiness splatters all the way around the bottom of the label. I love that look. So this is where you're going to set it on your pan and let it dry. You just have to be patient, okay? Because it will take a while. It will take a while. And that's why I said just set it on something like this. And, you know, you may want to come and move it occasionally so that it doesn't like stick so bad that it pulls off any of your grubbiness to it. But that's what I'll do is I'll leave this back here in my craft room over the weekend with a little fan on it. Come and check it periodically for the drips and just wait. Just wait. I'm gonna give this a few days. It's really humid here this weekend, so I'm gonna give it at least probably 2 days to dry. And sometimes it's possible that you may need to give it longer. So if it still is a little tucky to the touch, just keep the fan on it and be patient. Good morning, Miss Deanie. How are you, friend? Um, Denise, do you need to wash your muslin first? I do not. I never pre-wash my muslin fabric before I use it. Never. Never. I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but that's what I do. So, um you do what works best for you though. So on the top of this pickle jar, I love this lid, but I covered it. It has an old rusty lid, and I can't put it on here right now because my cheesecloth will stick to my grub. Okay. But I've covered it with cheesecloth and put a little tie on it. And I love how these kind of hang down and sit on the jar when it's finished. Um, if you want to kind of grub this up a little bit, grungy this up a little bit, you can put a little bit of coffee grunge around the rim. I like to do that sometimes. And then what I do is I take a couple of sprigs of sweet Annie, dried sweet Annie, if that's something that's new to you. We've used sweet Annie for a long time here. We haven't used any in a while. Um, it is a dried natural that you will see used in a lot of primitive style um, crafts. It's very aromatic, um, and it does have some herbal properties that you might find beneficial. So look it up sometime. I think it also goes by the name sweet wormwood. Um, but it smells absolutely amazing. But it kind of it's one of those scents. I'm trying to get this one stuck through that cheesecloth, and boy, it is being so stubborn. It is being so stubborn. I usually just kind of stick a little sprig on both sides of the knot, and it is not cooperating. Gosh dog it. It doesn't help that my fingers are like coated in glue and coffee. Um, well, goodness, I don't understand why it usually just sticks right through that cheesecloth. All right, well, you get the idea. Um, maybe I'll just stick it under it. Can't deal with it. I can't deal with you today. Okay. I kind of like to stick both of those on each side of that, and it just kind of gives it a little bit of a softer appearance. I'm just holding that there. But once you put that on the jar when it's finished, it gives it such a sweet look. So yeah, you definitely want to let it cure. And see, I'm already having runs and drips I need to tend to. So let me wipe these off, and then I'll show you what we're doing next. Um, okay. I probably need to catch them before they get going down too far. And let me tell you another thing, another tip. When you're putting these labels on these jars, and I'm going to show you the difference here. This side, I put a layer of Mod Podge, just plain Mod Podge, seal over this label, and it sealed it. This label, I did not. And when you see the drips come down, it stains the paper. Whereas on this side, I'm able to wipe the drips and it doesn't leave a stain mark. So you pick which method you like. If you want to seal it, if you want to see those drips and keep it there, don't seal it. This is not sealed. This is just a plain paper that I have attached Mod Podge to my jar, but I didn't put a top coat of that Mod Podge on as a sealer. This side I did, and you can see the difference there. This has the staining. This does not. So keep that in mind too whenever you're creating your jars. If the overall look for you is what you want, one or the other, keep that in mind. Let's see here. Rub some candle wax on the ends. That's a good idea. Thank you, Miss Stephanie. You have the sweet Annie. It's kind of like one of those smells. You know, you hear people say with like things like cilantro. You either really love it or you really hate it. You know, there's kind of like no in between. I think that's similar to sweet Annie. I think I've heard some people say that they get sweet Annie and it smells awful, and I'm thinking I don't understand. I don't understand, but it's very earthy. Okay. It's very aromatic, which means it does have a very, I'm not going to say strong, but it has a very distinct um, aroma. And it's not something that is going to knock you over. Like if you include it in your crafts, it's not going to be a smell that like hits you in the face as soon as you walk into your house or in the room. Okay. But it's a subtle smell that if you are close enough to it, you'll catch it. But if you're just putting a little sprig here and there, it's not going to be enough for you to even probably notice. Okay. Um, Back in the day, they used Sweet Annie. They would tie bundles of Sweet Annie and they would hang them in like the mercantiles or the stores, even in some like meat houses and things like that where there were often unpleasant odors. They would hang bundles of dried Sweet Annie and they used that as their natural air freshener, if you will. So it's something that is been around for a long time. And so I do too, Sheila. I love the smell of Sweet Annie. To me, it just makes me feel like it just gives me the smell of like, I don't know, a vintage farmhouse. I don't know. It's just that earthy smell that you just don't smell anywhere else. Good morning, Miss Brenda. How are you, friend? It is early in your neck of the woods, Miss Brenda. It is early. Okay, we're gonna set that on the cookie sheet and let it do its thing. Let me show you. We're gonna work on these old pantry tarts here in a minute. I'm gonna show you how to freshen them up. But let me show you a couple of things with this grubby technique. I like to grubby these little baby food jars. Now, I know probably many of you are at the stage of life where you have grandbabies. And with grandbabies comes baby food. So save your baby food jars and you can make little mini grubby jars. This one, and it could just be because my hands are wet, this one has a little bit of tack to it and it's extremely humid right now in Kentucky. So that's probably another reason. Um, but this one has a little bit of an uneven, you might be able to tell with the glare of the light. It's kind of helping you see. Let me show my friends on YouTube. There is a little bit of unevenness in the coat, the layer of grubby. Okay. And that layer of grubby is because I was not applying enough of the coffee podge to begin with, not enough of the glue. And when I sprinkled on the instant coffee didn't have enough wetness, enough dampness from the coffee podge for it to melt. And so it leaves this rough, powdery appearance in areas. And so if you do a batch of these jars, you were bound to have this as a problem. And I usually, when I've done these baby food jars, I usually do them in like huge batches of like 20s and 30s. And so I just do them real quick and then I let them all sit and dry for a few days, sometimes even a week. And then I always have a few out of my batch that has this on them. And I'm thinking, I just rushed it. I didn't have enough of my glue on there to melt the instant coffee. So if you let them dry for a little while and you have that problem, here's how we're going to fix it. We're just going to repeat the process. We're going to go a little bit lighter with our coat of glue this time though. We're going to go just dab it, just enough to put a little bit of wetness on there. And that will go ahead and that will melt that rough, powdery surface. Okay. And if you find that it was a little bit of a thin coat, then you might want to sprinkle a little bit more instant coffee on it. But I'm just going to wet this one down all the way around and call it good. And it will melt and it will give you a better overall um, look to the grubby coat. Okay. Now with these baby food jars, I do finish the bottoms of these. Okay. So whenever you set these to dry, you're going to want to set it upside down on your cookie sheet. Okay. All right. Let me check. I've got some drips on my big jar, so let me wipe those off. That's what I'm saying. You have to kind of keep an eye on this for about the first hour. This side has slowed down, so that's good. Okay. All right. All right. Baby wipes do an amazing job at cleaning that grub off your fingers. So once you do that, you set it upside down and you're good to go. Now this one does not have the rough look on its surface, but it's really blotchy. And I don't know, let me see. The light's probably not going to do it, but if I shine it in there, you see lots of blotchiness inside that jar. I can see it on the outside where I'm at. That means that my coat of grub is not thin or not thick enough to kind of hide that jar, or to kind of help coat that jar evenly. So this time I'm going to coat it. I'm going to coat it with Mod Podge and sprinkle the more of the instant coffee on there, because that instant coffee is what helps even the coloring out. I didn't put enough on it. That was the problem. So that one I had too much instant coffee in spots. This one I didn't have enough in spots. So I just wanted to show you those two examples and show you how easy of a fix it is. So don't panic if you do a batch of these and they don't quite look right. Just kind of look and see, do I need more color or do I need to get rid of the powder look? And that will determine how you'll go about fixing it. And I'm just sprinkling some instant coffee. The more powdery your instant coffee is, the better and faster it will dissolve. Okay. And a lot of times that alone is enough to help prevent the powdery look. Okay. I think that one will be good. Now it looks a little powdery at first, okay? But it's gonna sit there and it's gonna drink up that glue. And as it as it drinks up the glue, it will start to melt and you'll get that glazed look. Okay. That's the look we're going for. Now, if this dries and you see that powdery look, if it dries and it stays powdery, all I'm going to do is just tap it, just dab it with a little bit of the coffee podge and it will melt it down and it'll be perfect. Okay. Easy enough, right? Easy enough. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put our instant coffee and our coffee podge away. We're going to pull out our coffee grunge and our cinnamon, because I need, let me wipe my hands off a little bit here. Maybe. Come out. Got a little bit of stickiness on my hands. We're going to freshen up. Let me slide this out of the way. I'm not going to knock over anything. We're going to freshen up some of our little pantry cakes that we've created many, many moons ago. Okay. And this is super easy to do. You need your coffee grunge. Let me shake mine up. Let me show you first. Here's my coffee podge. Actually, you know what? Let me make sure my lid's on. I'm going to turn this jar upside down. I want you to see something. Do you see? My cinnamon is all settled down to the bottom of my jar. And so by shaking it up, it's going to help redistribute that cinnamon back into my mixture. Because on my little pantry tarts, I want that cinnamon to be in my mixture as I coat it. Okay. Shake it up and look. We've shook it up and that cinnamon is redistributed. Cinnamon does not dissolve. Okay. So if you ever have a bad jar of coffee grounds, like if it spoils, if you have mold or something that grows in it, maybe you've left it out too long and you have mold in it, you do not want to dump this down your drain. Okay. Dump it outside, pour it outside, whatever, because that cinnamon is not good for your drains because it does not dissolve. Okay. I think I've told you all that before, but it's been a long time. Let me check my. Okay. I think we're doing okay on the drips. It is slowing down a lot. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get a sponge brush. And a sponge brush and cinnamon is what you want. Let me get I'm going to get a little bit of parchment paper to spread out here. That way we can kind of reuse our cinnamon Sorry about that. It's loud. This will catch our cinnamon and we can pour it back into our jar as we need it. I need something to hold down these corners. There we go. We'll just do that. Okay. These I've made pantry tarts, big, small, medium. I've even made some little cookies using this same recipe. If you're interested, maybe you weren't here back in the day when we've done the pantry little creations, let me know. We may do a revisit of how to make them. It's been a long, long time. So, however you embellish them, you want to take all of your embellishments off. Sometimes I tie them with some cheesecloth or some homespun ribbon and some sweet Annie. No matter how you have them dressed up, you want to take all of the embellishments off. You just want the bare, naked pantry tart. And we're going to coat it. We're going to coat it with some coffee grunge. Okay. And it's going to drink that coffee grunge up. It is going to drink, especially mine. Mine are really, this one especially is really dry. See how light and color it is around the edges? That's when you know it's time to freshen them up. They need a drink. They've been out for a long time and they need some facial moisturizer. Okay. So as you put this on, some will run off and some will soak in. So it's something that you'll want to kind of just watch it. And do you see what it looks like? We're giving it a facelift, and this side is not. This is old, dry, and old and dry. So we're just bringing them back to life. And you will have to do this. I don't know. It's like, once again, it depends on the humidity of your home. I haven't done these in a long time. A long time. Probably been over a year. But just dust them with that and you'll see, just look how much better it looks. Now this one it already looked worse than this one, but you can see a difference. It brings it to life. And even the bottom, if you want to do the bottom, you can. Let's go ahead. I do not fill in the complete shape of these. And once again, this is something that's technique wise. If you want to see how to do these, I'd be more than happy. I have plenty of the supplies that it takes to do these. And I would be more than happy to do another video on these. They're so much fun to use in your decoration. And if you want, at this step, you can sprinkle in a little bit of cinnamon on it. And then you're just going to set it off to dry. Okay. You can skip the cinnamon step if you want. Okay. Because ideally you have cinnamon in your coffee grunge mixture. But I just like that little extra dusting on it. And just let it dry. Woohoo, I'm throwing coffee grunge everywhere. And as it dries, it will lighten, okay? If it dries and it's still really, really light, it may need a second coat. It's like I said, it's depending on how dry they are. And that one was extremely dry. So it might need another coat. But it's super easy just to freshen them up. And I'm going to, this one I'm not going to sprinkle the cinnamon on, I don't think. This one wasn't quite as dry as the other one. But that sponge brush just kind of helps brush it on a little bit easier. Okay. Comments, come on, comments. Good morning, Miss Rutima. How are you? Tina would like to see how they're made. Good. Who else? Yes, you want to see how, okay, well, let me see. Let me look at my schedule here in a minute. I know I'm going live. It may be Monday. I do have a crazy week this week. I will not be on my normal Wednesday this week. I will actually be out of town that day on Wednesday. Let me look. I know I sent the schedule to my Telegram channel peeps, and I sent it to my messenger broadcast peeps. Let me look at it and see what time. I think it's like Monday at 3-ish. Don't quote me yet. I could be wrong. Monday at 3. Monday at 3 is when I'll be live. Monday at 3. We can do pantry tarts then. Y'all wanna? Y'all wanna? Let's do it. Monday at 3 p.m. Central Time is when we'll do those. And then I'm not sure what day I'll be live this after that. I know I will not be live on that Wednesday, but I do my midweek check-ins. I may squeeze that in on Thursday. Let me see what our schedule looks like. Oh, I don't have my scheduling app on my iPad. Wah, wah, wah. I can't look right now. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. In other news, I have a shirt design ready to show y'all if y'all want to see it. If you want to see it, I'll show you. Let's cutesy up this little pantry tart real quick. I know it's not dry, but that's okay. This one, I like to use this just coffee stained cheesecloth. That's the method I like to dress them up with. Which one should I? This one's a little easier to touch. No, I don't know. They're both still kind of wet. Let me stick a little bit of dry to them. I have a shirt design for our Pennsylvania meetup. And in fact, I'm going live in the Pennsylvania group right after I'm finished here today. Right after I'm finished today. Because I have information about our hotel meetups. Well, looky that. Oh my gosh. I just opened up my iPad. Oh, I love this. This makes me so happy. And I have not seen this, so this is even more ironic. In my All Things Primitive group on Facebook, if you all are not in that group, I would love for you to be over there. There is some absolutely amazing stuff over there. Now, I'm not going to put too much heat on this because that's really going to kind of like undo what I just did. I just kind of want to dry it to the touch a little bit. My All Things Primitive group. Okay, this popped up as soon as I opened up my iPad to the main feed. It says a large pickle jar, grubbied up with Mod Podge instant coffee and cinnamon. This was posted by Miss Wanda Tintori. I hope I said your last name right. And she posted a picture of her jar. Oh my gosh, how cool is that? Let me see if I can zoom in so you can get it a better look. She really grubbied it up, added some good embellishments at the top. I mean, it's beautiful. So we have ladies sharing their creations over there in that All Things Primitive group all the time. And the group looks like this. Okay, it has a little one of my little wax candle lamps at the top of the header. One of my grubby jars over there. So you'll know you're in the right group. But there's lots of pretty things always posted over there. Look at this one. This one is posted by Miss Tracey Neal. She's been busy making some of those reproduction looking campfire marshmallow tins. Isn't that fun? I have my campfire marshmallow tin right there, right there. That was something did we do that last year? I think we did. And it was a huge hit, but she's got her faux toasted marshmallows in there. Oh, love it. Okay, scroll moment. Let's go to the Pennsylvania group. And I want to see if I can share that link with you all today. It would not let me last time. And if you have requested to join and I haven't approved you yet, I will do that here in just a minute. Copy the link. Okay, so let me go over now. You'll be having to watch on Facebook for this, okay? This will not show up on the YouTube feed, okay? So if you're watching on YouTube and looking for the label, it won't be on there. You'll have to go to the Facebook feed. Okay, I'm going to put it. Yes. Okay, it popped up this time. So let me It worked. Makes my heart happy when things work. So I'm putting it in the comments right now. It's if you just search Facebook for Pennsylvania 2025, it will also pop up. I put a little pin emoji beside of it. That is the group where I will be sharing our hotel accommodation information with you. Okay. Um, so that's where you can catch me live here in just a little bit when I'm finished. It'll take me just a few minutes to see if there's anybody that has requested to join. And if you don't get in there right away, if you're watching this later and you're thinking, oh, I missed it, you can still request to join the group, and the replay of that video will be in the group for you to watch whenever you are approved in the group. Okay. We do that in a group to help prevent truly non-interested people from getting information. Okay, so just hang with us there and answer the questions. Okay, answer the questions. If you don't answer the questions, it will automatically be denied. Okay, I have it set up to automatically deny those that don't answer the questions because, quite frankly, if you're a spammer or a troll, they usually don't answer the questions correctly. If you answer the questions correctly, or there's no right or wrong answer, but if you answer all the questions, it kind of helps me feel like you're a real human. Okay. So just answer the questions. I'm not using that information for any other reason other than that. So if you just answer the questions, it makes my life and your life so much easier. Okay. Now I'm just going to dab off the extra on this one because I got a lot of soaking up. It didn't quite soak up all of it I put on there, but it definitely needed a good drink. I'm just going to tie this up. I can show you all here in just a minute the shirt design, though. You don't have to be in the group to see the shirt design. I'm just going to tie this in a simple little knot on top. Okay. And then let's put, I'm going to use this little sprig of Annie that I had over here a second ago. I like to just kind of put a little sprig of Sweet Annie in these. These are so inexpensive to make. If you do craft shows, this will be something that has loads of character and charm. Very unique. You don't see these just everywhere, okay? And they're really inexpensive to make. So if you do craft shows, it's a great item for that. I'm telling you, this is being so stubborn for me today. I usually never hardly have problems doing this. I think it just knows that I'm live and it's like, ha ha, it's not gonna cooperate. Anyway, I'm just gonna set it under there for now. I just embellish it with a little bit of Sweet Annie on top, and you see how cute it looks, and how sweet does this look um, with one of your primitive little jars, right? This tucked in a little corner, a little cubby is so sweet. Um, and you can make these in all different sizes and shapes, okay? The sky's the limit with what you can do with these. We'll make these on Monday at 3 p.m. I'll be live showing you all how to make these from scratch. You won't believe how easy they are to make. You will need, let me pull up. I have a pantry tart recipe. And let me pull it up. See if I can find it on my iPad. I need to search. You know, sometimes things work and sometimes things don't. And this one's not going to work. I'll post my pantry tart recipe later on today, and that way you can make sure that you have all of the ingredients that you'll need for Monday if you want to start making them. Okay, we'll just have a pantry tart session on Monday, and you only need a few things: flour, salt. I can't remember the others, but I will post the recipe. And I will make sure I post it on my broadcast channel, my Telegram channel, and I'll post it here on my page on Facebook, and I'll post it in our YouTube community as well, so everybody can find it. Okay, the shirt design. The shirt design. That's what I wanted to show you. Oh, it's going to be backwards for you all. Let me see if I can flip it. I might be able to flip it for you. I got it. I got it. I got it. It's going to show right. It's going to show the right way for you. This is a close-up view of the shirt. I have to add 2 or 3 little things to this design, but they're going to be minuscule. You're not going to probably even notice them very much. This is our shirt design for our Pennsylvania road trip meetup. We always have a shirt design for each trip. Our last meetup trip was in 2023. We went to Texas. We did the watering can, the vintage watering can with a lot of Texas inspired wildflowers in that can. We had Texas 2023 very subtly in the design somewhere. And this is sort of like a vintage Soul Sister shirt as well. This was not for any type of trip. This is just one that we released last fall. We have not released a shirt since this one. So this will be the first one that we've done in probably a year. So let me give you a close-up look. I know y'all are going to get the reflection of everything behind my screen here. Up close, we have the Liberty Bell. We are going to Pennsylvania. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this shirt is designed for our Pennsylvania road trip meetup. Anybody can have this shirt. You don't have to be going to the meetup to get the shirt. I'll be posting information on how you can get yours very soon. But we always include symbols or clues to where this shirt was linked to for what trip. So, of course, the Liberty Bell, Pennsylvania connection there. We have the Declaration of Independence because obviously Pennsylvania connection there. 1776, America. We have some stars hidden within the design. There will be 13 stars in the design exclusively for the 13 colonies. That does not count the little circle star image that you see right here. We have a silhouette of George Washington. Of course, he was our founding father of America. We have back here, we have a little song, sheet music, America the Beautiful, back there in the back. I don't know if everybody can see that. Back here, we have a faint postal stamp. Did you know that the U.S. Postal Service began in Pennsylvania in 1775? So we have that connection there. Another little postage stamp clue right there. And then right down here at the bottom, this is where we are subtly including our clues of what this trip was for. And I've zoomed way in on this, and it says Lancaster, Pennsylvania, 2025. If you get this shirt just because you like it, that's fine. Some of you have told me in the past, if you get it, you don't want the state and everything on there. So I always include it kind of small. And so within the shirt itself, that will be so small and subtle that it doesn't scream Lancaster, Pennsylvania to you. So that you can wear it and not feel like you missed out on the road trip. You can wear it because you like the shirt. So I am going to be try to include an image of Abraham Lincoln, because I feel like that's the whole connection with the Gettysburg there in Pennsylvania. And I think I have to make sure that we have all 13 of the star stamps there, and then it will be ready. The shirt printing company, I have been working with the shirt printing company. They are the ones that when they print the shirts, they have to have certain specs for the designs in order for them to be cost efficient to print. Okay. Of course, we could come up with some elaborate design, but a lot of times the more colors that's included in a shirt design, the more it rises the cost. And I'm trying to keep the cost efficient for everybody, affordable for everybody. So we kind of have to limit our color choices and things like that for the inks that are printed onto the shirt. The shirts that I like to have are actually ink printed. They're screen printed on the actual shirt fabric. So it's not a heat press. The heat press shirts tend to not last as long if you wash and dry them, and sometimes they're a little bit more stiff. The ink press, that ink is screen printed, I should say, screen printed. The ink is actually printed into and onto the shirt itself. Um, the heat press is just not as quite of a durable method, and so that's why I always kind of like to go with the ink, the screen printed shirts. So ordering information will be out very soon on that. Once again, you all know I always share it out. Um, to all of my messenger channels and communities. And there is so much history in Pennsylvania. You're right. So we are excited about that. So I'm going to sign off here in just a minute, and I'll be live over in the Pennsylvania Road Trip Meetup group on Facebook. Sorry, I've got to grab a drink of water. And I'll give you hotel accommodation information there. Okay. Can anyone? Oh yes, Miss Terry. Anyone can order that shirt when I post the ordering link soon. Anyone can order that shirt. You do not have to be going on the trip to order. It's open for anybody and everybody to order. So that's thank you, Miss Kathy. Uh, it may possibly be, or we have not finalized the actual shirt colors yet. I was maybe hoping to do a red and a blue option, but I have not worked out those details with the shirt printing company yet. If you've ordered shirts in the past, you know how this works. Usually, we have an ordering window. We usually open it up for like a week or 10 days for orders to come in. And then the shirt printing company closes the orders and they start printing the shirts. They ship them from the shirt printing warehouse. Okay, they ship them for me. I don't print or ship them. They ship them directly to you from the warehouse there where they print them. Um, so let's see. Oh yes, Miss Redette. The Pennsylvania meetup is it's for anybody. If you want to come, you are more than welcome to come. We don't charge, like there's no ticket, there's no admission. We just let you know where we're going to be. If you want to come join us, if you just want to come meet up, it's September 11th through the 13th. Um, we will have an itinerary of where we will be on those days, out in the public where you can come meet us. You can One of those meetups may be like a lunch. We may have like a sack lunch day or like a catering lunch or whatever. We haven't worked out those details yet. That's coming next. But we will have several public meetup opportunities where you can come take pictures with the whole group. Um, Shop with us. We'll let you know where we're going to be shopping on those days, and it's just a fun time. You can make it as your own trip if you bring a friend or your mom or maybe your sister or daughters, whoever you want to bring with you. Bring them with you. You can. We have lots of ladies that are flying. I will be flying in, and my mom is coming with me this time around. So we're excited about that. Um, but you can hang with us as much as you want or as little as you want. If you just want to join us for one of the meetups and then be done, that's fine too. A lot of times we have designated meetup times on those days. And then, excuse me, that water I think didn't settle well. We have those meetup times, and then usually we kind of disperse. We kind of get all kind of disperse and do our own things. And then the next day we'll have another meetup in a slightly different spot, and then we'll do the same thing. So um, if we did that in Texas, absolutely loved it. It was a wonderful time, and I think the Pennsylvania one will be an interesting trip as well. I'm super excited about it. I've never been to that part of the country, and I'm going to be there twice this fall. So I'm so excited. I'm going to be traveling to Maine as well. So for the first time, I've never been up to the Northeast, so I'm excited about that. Um, oh, I know we're going to miss you, Miss Beth. We are going to miss you. We need to go to Miller's Smorgasbord. Okay, I've been looking at lots of different things. Will there be tank tops available? Usually they do not offer tank tops as an option. I'm so sorry. Um, Miss Raynette, I posted a group link here for you. Let me see if I can post it again. Um, this Facebook group is where we will be posting information about the trip. Okay, we don't post it publicly because the public. I mean, anybody and everybody can see things on Facebook and YouTube. So we kind of like to keep that information somewhat safe and private. So if you are interested in joining us on that trip, you'll join that Facebook group. Okay, and check into that Facebook group occasionally. Okay. And if you lose it and don't know how to find that Facebook group, go to Facebook. Let me show you what Facebook looks like when you're just on your regular. Okay. I don't know if this will look the same for you, but when you're on, hang on, let me refresh this. The internet's not working. Okay. When you go to Facebook, there is a top little section up here in the top corner that says search. It's like right here. If you tap in that box, I tapped it twice. Tap in that box and type Pennsylvania 2025. And when you do, it will pop, there will be a little list of things that populate. You want the group that says Pennsylvania 2025 Vintage Soul Sisters and Crafters Road Trip Meetup. This is what the Facebook group looks like. Okay, so if you find it that has this picture at the top, you know you're in the right place. You'll just need to request to join, and I will get you approved if you answer all the questions. If you don't answer the questions, then I might think you're a spammer or a troll. So that's just safety precautions for everybody. So request to join, and I'm fixing to go live in that group right now. All right. I'll see you Monday at 3 p.m. Central Time. We're going to make these pantry tarts. We might make some pantry cookies. I don't know. It'll be all things pantry, pantry foods. I'll see you then. Have a beautiful weekend, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.